Our next guest has a definite purpose as well. And Dr. Ambuj Jain currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia with his wife and 2 children. You know what, I'm going to stop for a second. Have you ever read a bio and went, oh my God, I've done nothing in my life? I mean, I've just done nothing. I mean, I read this and went, oh my God, I'm so lazy. My God. He's earned degrees in a bachelor's degree in communications at the University of Allahabad, correct? And a master's in communication at Delhi School of Economics, as well as an MBA and a PhD from the University of Buffalo, and was an award-winning assistant professor of marketing at SMU University. In his long and varied career as a businessman and a visionary for humanity, AJ has been motivated by the mutual success of his clients and colleagues alike. AJ founded Feed a Billion, a 501c3, in May of 2016. Welcome to the stage, AJ Jain.
Giving you 7 seconds to judge me. So now that is, I didn't want to interfere with that thought process. So now that you have done that, we can go on with the presentation. So I'm AJ, and I am so grateful to be here. I'm grateful to Ken, to Bill, to Carrie for creating the platform where you have all gathered, and you're giving me an opportunity to share some thoughts about myself, my journey, Feed a Billion. And what I thought, instead of doing a presentation about Feed a Billion itself, what I will share with you, my journey, how I came to Feed a Billion, and the lessons that I've learned along the way. And I think there should be a thing here. So by way of my background, and thank you, that was a very generous introduction. I'm originally from India, from a very small town in India. And when I say a small town, it's a town with no traffic lights, no stop signs, and life was fabulous. We grew up with a lot of abundance within our family. There was a lot of joy, there was a lot of love, and I never really felt wanting for anything. It was, there was cousins running around, typical Indian family where food is the centerpiece of our families. We gather around food. There's a lot of joy. It was beautiful growing up as a kid in that environment. So I didn't grow up with scarcity. I didn't know hunger. I had never experienced hunger. So right now, I have a difficult task because I am standing between you and your food. But I wanted to have you think about this for a second. How would you feel if you're sitting here right now and you had no knowledge of how you are going to get your next meal? There was no availability, there were no resources. And imagine if you're a kid that is experiencing that. For the next 24 hours, you have no clue. Now, fast forward 24 hours later. Now, you're hungry, even more hungry than you are right now. And another 24 hours pass by, and you still don't know where your food is going to come from. And this is a reality that is repeating itself every single day around the world. What is interesting is that you may not realize, or maybe you do realize, how much of that is going on here at home in the United States. 42 million people don't have enough food. And we judge. We say, must be because they're drug addicts, must be because they are not working, must be because they are lazy, must be because whatever it is. And I can tell you that there are single moms with 2 children that are working $10 or $12 an hour, working 40 hours a week or more, that mathematically cannot provide enough food for their children. It doesn't work. And the Trump administration is going to cut that even more. So the problem that we have is getting worse. So I came into the world of Tony Robbins in 2013, and I was in a business before that. I worked for an insurance company, and prior to that, I was doing consulting work. I worked for a company called RCI. Prior to that, I was in education. So I just organically grew. I didn't really have a master plan of life. I was just going along, everything was working on, and I was doing just fine. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't. And I had never really experienced a tremendous amount of hardship till almost I was 38, 39 years old when I started to experience a lot of difficulty. And it led to, I created a business that didn't work. I created to take advantage of the dot-com boom, invested a tremendous amount of money, brought investors together, and it just bombed. So here I am. I was married at the time. I have 2 children. I'm living at Crooked Stick in Indianapolis. I've had a stellar career, and all of a sudden I'm faced with the reality I have no money. I have 0 money. And in fact, I owed money to people for the business that I had created. And I was debating filing for bankruptcy, personal bankruptcy. And I had actually printed the forms out, and I was sitting in the middle of the night, and I just heard this voice saying, "Don't do it. Don't do it." And it was like, it was an illogical thing. It didn't make sense not doing it because there was no option. But, I kind of listened to my inner voice and decided that there was something here, so I decided not to do it. And that led to, if I had done that, everything that happened since 2003 through 2017, none of that would have happened. And the reason is because I became involved in the insurance business after that through a friend of mine who brought me in as a consultant. And I became an officer of an insurance company, which was publicly traded. I became an officer of a publicly traded insurance company. And if you have a personal bankruptcy in your records, you cannot be an officer of an insurance company ever in your life. So what happened was I got involved in the insurance company. We grew that 1,200%. We exited in 2013. It was a very successful exit. And then I got to a point of, what do I do now? I was presented with a tremendous opportunity in 2014. And I decided, my wife and I sat down. By now I'm remarried to an incredible human being who has been a huge advocate of mine, huge supporter of mine. I met her in 2002. And we decided that I wasn't going to do that opportunity. We were going to, most people take, they work throughout our lives, and we go to the end of the life and we retire. At some point in time we retire. We said, what if we borrow a year from our future and insert that now and recalibrate ourselves? And that was the best decision I ever made. And I'm going to, speaking is not my shtick. So I'm going to jump around in my presentation a lot. And, I actually do have, listen to your voice. We all have it. Harness the ability to listen. It's never wrong. And what I want to share with you is that we tend to have so much noise in our minds. There is so much chatter going on in our minds that we're not allowing ourselves to hear what we really need to hear. And that is essentially what happened to me from 2013 to now. There were so many times where I probably would have made a different decision, but I didn't. So the decision to go into the Tony world and immersing, Ken was talking about the immersion, because you can hear the same message over and over again, but you're at a different point. So I have attended 23 Tony Robbins events, as an example. Then I said, where is Tony learning from? So I found out that there are teachers that he goes to in India, and he actually took a group of us there. So I have gone to those people in India, and there is it's called One World Academy, and we have done some deep, intense meditations and really trying to figure out this, And what I've learned is that if we can learn how to quiet the noise here, everything happens. So the fact that I am here, the fact that I am talking about Feed a Billion, the fact that I have this opportunity, every single one of these things is happening organically. It becomes effortless. The abundance that Ken was talking about, you start attracting the abundance simply because you're allowing for it to come to you. The noise that says, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. You're constantly wanting, and as we are wanting, we're not paying attention to the person that we are interacting with. We are not connecting with them. We are not seeking from them, what can I do to serve you? We're always saying, what can I get from you? So this whole concept of Feed a Billion came about because I was at an event last year with Tony, and prior to that, I had thought about hunger because Tony's very passionate about hunger. He grew up very poor, and somebody gave them food at Thanksgiving, and it helped him realize, it made him realize that it's much more than food. It's about relevance. It's about somebody feeling how important they are. And I had never connected the two. I came from the other side, which is food is joy. To me, food is love. You give love through food. So Feed a Billion is a goal that seems like, oh my God, it's a massive goal. How are you going to do that? To me, I view it as 1 billion times one person is saying to another person, I love you, through food, somewhere around the world. And the only reason I can see that is because I'm allowing for it to happen. I'm allowing for it to organically come to me. Does that make sense? So I'll give you an example. I was waiting outside just now for doing this presentation, and a friend of mine called who has been trying to reach me for the last 3 weeks. So I just answered and I said, hey, how are her name is Buttercup, believe it or not. And she said, she calls me Ambuj. She said, Ambuj, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I'm sitting here with this person. I really need for you to talk to him. I said, okay. I'm talking to this guy. It turns out, and he's like, listen, I love what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out he's with a hedge fund. And the hedge fund owns Hard Rock Cafe. And he said, we did 114 million room nights last year. So he said, what would happen if I add $1 to every room night? That's $114 million. That's 1 billion meals. Shit like that happens. Right? Thank you. So somebody has said, what will happen after you do 1 billion meals? I said, what we will do is, instead of feed a billion, we will just cross the A and we'll do feed 10 billion. Right? Why stop? Why stop? Now, what is interesting about all of this is that this is not what I do. Actually, I have a professional life. I'm an insurance guy. So what has happened is, as I have gotten out of my own way, as I've started to listen, just organically, things are coming. So I have connected with a group of people. We are now in the process of creating another insurance company platform. around a strategy that I created. It's called the dual engine strategy, 2 pillars. And within another 18 months or so, we will probably have $400 million in assets in that. And it's happening. It's happening. Does that make sense? Intention is what allows things to come. The clarity of intention, reducing all the noise, is what brings. And that is a huge lesson that I have learned through all this time that I've spent. So I was sitting in the front. I had no plan of sharing this vision that I had in 2014 about doing 1 billion meals because I was scared. I was scared of failing. I was scared of being judged for that failure. I was scared people will laugh at me. I've spent my entire life worrying about what people think of me and what are people thinking. And because of that, I have created this larger than life because I just don't know where to stop. I just keep going. I keep going. I keep going. I keep going because I can do more, be more, give more. I just keep going. And this vision came to me of doing 1 billion meals, but I sat quiet on it. The whole 2015, I'll think about it, I'll talk to my wife. I was obsessed with it, but I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And I'm sitting there, and Tony actually called on me and said, AJ, what about you? And he was talking about something completely different. It was a small group, about 250 people. It was just the Platinum Partners. And I ended up sharing with him this vision that I had, that on November 20, 2020, we are going to have a celebration because I saw that happen. And in this celebration, I sat with it, and I'm like, what is going on? What are we celebrating? I can see that there's 1,000 people. It's in New York. And there are tables like this with the black tablecloth. And there are 10 people sitting around each table. And every table has a senior person, and every table has a child. And Tony is there, Bill Clinton is there. There's other celebrities, lots of stuff going on. And I sat with it, and I said, what is it? And it came to me that we were celebrating the distribution of 1 billion meals. And I shared that with Tony. And I said to him that I was going to ask you to match 400 million meals. And he said, I'm in. Let's do it, brother. So I was like, oh. So what happened was, my ass got committed. Right? And that was only last year. So we created the 501c3, and so now I know nothing about hunger, really, the world of hunger, and I know nothing about nonprofits. And I'm knee-deep into this stuff. So around September, by the time we started doing some meals, so far we have done 1.3 million meals, and Tony has matched 210,000, and he's going to be matching more. And my goal is to do 25 million meals this year, and we'll do 100 million meals next year. I have no clue how it is going to happen, but it's going to happen. And that's one of the lessons that I learned from Tony is just know your why. Know your what. Don't worry about the how. It'll happen. The other thing that is relevant to all of this is that what we want in life is beyond our fears. Think about that for a second. And Tony has a different way of saying it. It is the quality of your life will be in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably live with. Does it make sense? And the reason for that is that the conscious mind can only think so much. But when you quiet the conscious mind, it connects with the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is infinite. And with that infinite, anything is possible. So if you believed that anything is possible, and you lived with that absolute certainty that right now anything is possible, imagine what you can do. So, do you want to make $1 million? Do you want to make $10 million? Do you want to make $100 million? What is it that you want to do? That freaks the shit out of you. And commit to doing it. And then let it unfold. So there is a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's a tremendous book. I strongly encourage everybody to read it. Oprah raves about that book. And Oprah is never wrong. And the book is about the mind. Is it your mind, the thoughts? And we can have a whole philosophical discussion around that. But the whole point is that you cannot listen to your inner voice if you're caught up in the chatter of the mind. The other thing that happens is about these big goals is, let's say you want to make, I've met people, they say, I want to be a billionaire. Okay? Where are you now? So whatever they are, their net worth is. In order for us to do 1 billion meals, the first thing that happens is we have to do 100 million meals. In order for us to do 100 million meals, we have to do 10 million meals. In order for us to do 10 million meals, we have to do 1 million meals. In order for us to do 1 million, it needs to be 100,000. In order for it to be 100,000, it needs to be 10,000. In order for it to be 10,000, it needs to be 1,000. In order for it to be 1,000, it needs to be 100. In order for it to be 100, it needs to be 10. In order for it to be 10, it needs to be 1. I can do 1. Every one of you can do 1. It's 10 cents. So imagine 100 people here maybe, 150 people. We just did 100 meals, 150 meals. And we can talk about how it is 10 cents. I can give a whole explanation about why it is 10 cents. Or you can go to our website, feedabillion.org, and it explains. But it's legitimately 10 cents. There's no bullshit in that. Chunk it. The other is get started. Whatever it is that you want to do, get started. Do something. And this is something that has helped me a lot, because I have this thought about whenever I feel stuck, whenever I feel overwhelmed, I think to myself, if I take one step, God is going to lift me up. I take one step, God is going to lift me up. I tell that to myself, and I take the next step in full trust that something will happen. So whatever it is, the next step. Is it a call I can make? Is it an email I can send? Is it a text message? What is it that I can do as the next step that moves me towards the outcome? Remember, take a step. The other thing that is relevant is, Ken talked about the best peer group. So, I was looking for the best peer group to be with. That's how I ended up in the Tony world. Within the Tony world, there's the Platinum Partners. It costs a lot of money, but it's very high achieving people that are about giving and serving from around the world. So I said, okay, we'll belong there. And then, I've spent a long time there, have made incredible friendships. So now I've created a smaller group called A Few Good Men. The women get mad at me. But it really is A Few Good Men, because I was looking for creating a peer group for me. And A Few Good Men is what Ken was describing. He has 5 people that they get together and they just hang. So we have created A Few Good Men and we just hang, except that we don't hang for a day, we hang for 5 days. There's no agenda. And we travel somewhere around the world and we just hang. And it's amazing what guys will share with other guys even when no alcohol is involved, provided they're comfortable that there's no judgment. And when you have the right peer group, there is no judgment. So whatever it is that you do, surround yourself with people that you will listen to, where you can contribute. And the other is, what can you do to add value to everybody else? When I was preparing for this presentation, I wasn't thinking about what can people do for me and for Feed a Billion. I was thinking of, you're giving me 30 minutes of your time. What can I do to serve you? What can I share with you that will be meaningful, that actually does something for you? So it's always about serving and creating value for others. Invest in yourself. Ken was talking about that. Leaders are readers. Attend seminars. It is the highest ROI. And in fact, I've been asked to give presentations about joining Feed a Billion. And joining Platinum Partners. And my pitch always is that, we get asked for making investments. Many of us get asked for making investments. And we're looking for an ROI, 10%, 12%, 15%, 20%, whatever it is. The ROI on self-development and self-investment is infinite. You have that for the rest of your life. Always there. Innovate. Peter Drucker talks about innovation and marketing. There are only 2 things in business, innovation and marketing, and Ken was giving all kinds of examples of that. And what we did with Feed a Billion is we said, how can we innovate? So people are looking for money, charities are looking for money. It's a very scarcity mindset, because the second that money stops, charity goes away. So we said, what can we do to invent in that space? So as business owners, you get hit up for dollars all the time, for donations. So I said, instead of asking you for money, what if we create a solution for you that actually improves your return on investment in social media marketing dollars? What if we created a platform that allows you to do that? And that's where we paired up with Social, which is a company that Bill Courtright and Ken are involved in. And Colin was here, I think, yesterday. He's gone back. And Social has helped us create a platform where you as a business owner can create a significantly higher customer engagement on Facebook, because the very thing that we encourage is likes and shares. So as you know, that traditionally you advertise in social media and you get at best 1% engagement. At best. Some of the people get a little bit better than that. Mostly it's about 0.5%. What we have created is that you do the program with us. We provide meals. You get much higher ROIs on your dollars, because you're funding the meals, and your audiences that are getting engaged, especially the millennials who are looking for companies that are tied with philanthropy. So there's a lot of stickiness to that relationship, to that engagement. We convert their likes and shares into meals. We have been experimenting with this. The technology got done last March or last month. And we now have a salesperson who is actually establishing a lot more of these relationships. A lot of people are signing up. And we are actually able to show that results actually are what we think they are. We had done an experiment last November, and we were able to produce 1,200% improvement in their ROI. And this is how it works. Feed a Billion is partnering with different businesses. We are taking the message to social media. that creates better engagement for the businesses, that does cross-promotion for Feed a Billion, and the money is provided for the meals. So you don't have to, what I wanted to do was create a larger platform. Instead of going to you and saying, hey, donate money, what we can now say to you is you will get a significantly higher ROI on your social media dollars because we have created a platform for you. Right? So it's a win-win-win for everybody involved. I don't make any money in this venture. This is not a business venture. This is not a for-profit venture. All I'm doing is bringing business background and business expertise, principles of leverage and compounding into this platform. We're just rethinking how to do a nonprofit. That's what we have done. And Jason Cisneros, who's a dear friend of mine, who was also a platinum partner in the Tony world, he has 27 companies. I reached out to him in September, and I said, we need to do this. Help me do this. And again, you can do that when it's not about you. You can go and find the best people you know how to bring together. That's what I do. It's not about me. It's about how do I assemble the best team that is possible. So we have assembled the best team that is possible. And that's how we are executing. Ryan is here. He has an event called City Gala. We are now a charity that City Gala is going to support for 2018. That's, I went to his event earlier this year and had an opportunity to meet with John Travolta and with Halle Berry. And after I met Halle Berry, I sent her picture with me to my wife, and I said, I have finally met another woman who is almost as beautiful as you are. Anybody would guess what that is? Any guess? Close. It's the number of people that have died in the time that I've been talking from starvation. Mostly children. You can like or share our Facebook page. You can partner with your business with us, and we can definitely help your ROI from social media advertising. Donate. Do something. Please, volunteer. Go to soup kitchens. Food is the basic need we have as human beings. Doing nothing is not an option. You can visit feedabillion.kindful.com. You can visit feedabillion.org. We are right outside. Katerina is here with me. Without Katerina, none of this happens, by the way. Pure confession. She holds everything together, makes it all work. And that's my shtick. I'm sorry I'm 2 minutes over. I didn't want to be the guy in between you and your food. Thank you.
Hello, testing. AJ, you're awesome. All right, so this is what we call a call for cash. So as you've noticed, we haven't sold anything from our stage. So the only thing you dig into your checkbook or your credit card for at our events is to support cool people like AJ. So here's the thing. In exchange for this weekend's videos, with the superimposed images of all the slides so you could relive this whole weekend and everything you've heard and seen as many times as you want to, what's a website they could open up and click donate now and give you $1? Where can they go?
It's called feedabillion.kindful.com, or you can just go to feedabillion.org and just click on donate, and there's a website. You can do a recurring charge. Yeah. There's no limit. You can do $1.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Here's how my game is played. An organization that needs funding would really prefer an ongoing, repeatable contribution than a one-time thing. Right. So anybody that goes to that website before Sunday at 5 o'clock and does an ongoing monthly contribution, I don't care if it's $1, but anything, and then AJ can send us, the printout of these people gave $1 a month or $10 and whatever you can comfortably do as much as you physically can comfortably do. You know, I read a book. There's this thing called Malachi 3:8. Read it. It's the only time he ever says, "Test me on this," and it'll come back to you 1,000-fold. So you might want to check that one out. Little plug from a man. But the reality is, there is something magical about tithing. I'm just going to say it that way. There is something magical. So push yourself to the biggest limit you can. Tithe as much monthly as you can. And in exchange for what we used to sell for $2,000 for the videos from this event, for the people that couldn't make it, we will now give away in direct contribution for Feed a Billion. And to kickstart the program, Carrie's going to hand AJ a really cute little check here.
Thank you.
For 10 grand.
Wow.
I have a real one in a minute.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.